concerned. We are concerned the presence of the Domain Awareness Center will further traumatize communities of color that already suffer from trauma. We are concerned that the presence of the DAC will discourage progressive movements and political activists from engaging in civic engagement. We are also concerned that the aggregation of data on communities of color will be used to justify the use of force and violence in those areas under the guise of safe communities.
That's it.
So what is trauma? Trauma is an experience where it's either physical or psychological, where something occurs and you disconnect from your body and your emotions. And when you disconnect from your body and your emotions, you can't show self-care, you can't show self-love, so you can do self-harm. If you can harm yourself, you can harm somebody else.
That's right.
So you can understand the 14-year-old that's doing cocaine and doesn't realize that it's causing self-harm, or the 14-year-old that causes harm to somebody else, but because they're so disconnected, they don't understand or appreciate empathy. That's trauma. Racism is a deeply distressing and disturbing source of trauma for all communities.
Thank you.
And specifically in communities of color. The trauma of racism causes us to view our skin color as a source of pain, shame, and a source of legalized violence. When the color of your skin is the source of violence, your very existence becomes equivalent to PTSD. When the color of your skin is the source of violence by law enforcement, you experience a form of complex trauma because your skin color is the source of unpredictable, uncontrollable, and severe trauma by someone in a position of power. I'm co-director of a mindfulness at-risk mentoring program with the Neurology Institute of Berkeley, and I also do restorative justice work with men in San Quentin. I understand trauma, I know what trauma is. Black people and communities of color suffer from trauma on a daily basis. And police officers and authority figures, the like thereof, are deep triggers of trauma. So rather than treating communities of color as a source of trouble and violence, it is imperative that we find ways to help all of us heal from the impact of racism. Oakland's past and present involve wounds at the hand of police violence that we have yet to heal from. Each time there's another example of police violence that's based on someone's color, all those deep wounds open up again. The presence of the DAC and increased surveillance that will come with it will result in more fear, more hypervigilance, and therefore more trauma and more violence in communities of color.
Thank you.
Simply put, the presence of the DAC will not result in community healing. Instead, it will create more trauma, more violence, and result in community killing. The most disturbing part of all this is that it's predictable. Thank you.